All right, we will call the council meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, take the roll.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here.
Morissette.
Here.
Wakefield. Here. Knutson. Here. Kennedy.
Here.
Ruck. Here. Hall.
Here.
All right, first thing up is comments and suggestions from citizens present. This is your opportunity to talk about, give us your opinion about any topic that affects the city that is not currently on the agenda for this evening. It's for residents, property owners of the city, business owners as well. And so if you do have a comment, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address. Try to keep your comments brief. Try not to repeat other people's comments. So, does anybody have a comment?
Hello, good evening. I'm John Stern out of that 904 Vine Street. And my concern is the intersection between Vine and 9th. And I think it needs a four-way stop. I'm one that's totally against stop signs, but if there's an intersection in town that could use one, I think that is it. I have seen multiple accidents there. I have witnessed multiple very close call accidents there. I've seen children, there's a crosswalk there and cars don't see them. Come flying down the hill or up the hill is the biggest concern. People will be out in the road and be in the middle of the road and the cars are usually traveling too fast or just don't see them. Tonight was my final straw. It made me come in tonight. I seen two boys start to cross the road on their bikes. One car stopped for them, the other car didn't. Luckily, the boys were smart enough to stop and back up and get out of the way before the truck ran them over. And I've seen this countless times. Like I said, tonight was my final straw. We were actually discussing it with family members over the weekend, what a terrible intersection that is, because they brought it up. And that's all I'm here for, is to bring that up again. I know it's been a topic before, and I see other four-way stops around town that are less of a danger. I don't know why this one would be, looked upon not needing one. I guess that's all I have to say, but thank you.
All right, thanks for your comment. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll close that portion of the agenda. Next up is
I'd like to say something about that last comment.
Sure.
I received information about that today, and I've already asked Jeff to put that on public safety for the next meeting.
Okay, did you hear that? Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Joyce. Presentation regarding Public Works Week, National Public Works Week. So, whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Hudson, and whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Hudson to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works. And whereas the year 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now resolved, I, Mayor Rich O'Connor, do hereby designate the week May 21st to 27th, 2023 as Public Works Week, and I urge all citizens to recognize our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and thank them for the substantial contributions that they make to protecting our health, safety, and quality of life. So, congratulations. I hope everybody takes note of this, the Public Works Week. I think it's very important to recognize and commend the people that we have working in our Public Works Department for all of us in our city. They do a tremendous job. Mike, thank you, and thank all of your staff. Really appreciate it. Look forward to celebrating next week. All right, next up is our public hearing. Just a quick note. So as you can see, we have public hearing tonight on the topic of adding additional liquor license, off-sale liquor licenses in the city. Also on the agenda is potential action that would be taken. We are not going to take action tonight. At least it's my suggestion that we do not take action tonight. We can still have the public hearing, but I want people to know that, as was pointed out in a previous meeting, we do have one license available just through natural growth of the city. So by ordinance, we have one license available that does not need any additional action. We do have an applicant for that license, and unless something changes, then we really have no need to be voting on an ordinance that really is not necessary at this point. But at the same time, we know that this was noticed for public hearing, and I see some faces here that I'm sure are here for that, for the public hearing. And therefore, we will continue with the public hearing and give you, all of you, an opportunity to speak on this if you wish. So this is your opportunity in the public hearing to be heard on this topic of additional liquor licenses in the city. By the way, I should also note that I think it's important that we have this public hearing anyway at this time, because who knows, it's probably likely that this issue will come before this body in the not too distant future. So it's good to hear what your concerns are, as long as you're all here anyway. So if you do have a comment and you're present, again, please come up to the mic, identify yourself and also where you live, and if you could, please, same thing, keep your comments brief. Try not to repeat other people's comments. And I think that's it. If you are on Zoom, looks like we have one person on Zoom right now. Same thing applies, just jump in, or I think you can raise your hand on Zoom, and I will be notified and we'll call on you. So, it's a public hearing, your opportunity to be heard. Does anybody have a comment?
Good evening. My name is Brian Mora. I live at 1522 South Point Drive. I'm here to express my concern with the proposed change of the liquor ordinance 0823, allowing grocery stores to sell liquor within their stores. As a resident of this community and an active community member, I strongly urge you to consider the negative impact that this decision could have on our local liquor stores and the unique character of our city. Granting ordinance 0823 would pose an unfair competition and jeopardize the livelihood of these small businesses. It would also result in loss of jobs and revenue, which would have a negative impact on our community's economy. I am an active community member and a resident who wants to protect the small businesses of Hudson. Hudson is a big tourism, and our local liquor stores are a huge part of that. We bring customers into Hudson to spend money, not only at our shops, but our neighbors. Furthermore, Hudson is known for its unique charm and local character, which is largely due to the continuation of local independent businesses. Allowing grocery stores to sell liquor could lead to an influx in more chain stores and ultimately change the character of our town. For example, this would be cities like Woodbury, Minnesota, and Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where they once had independent stores, and now these independents have been taken over by big chains. I think we all can agree that the city of Hudson needs another grocery store, but there are other ways for grocery stores to come to town and follow the same ordinance that every liquor store has followed for years. Therefore, I implore the city council members to reconsider the proposal and withhold the granting of the ordinance change. Let us protect and support our local businesses, as they have been the backbone of our community. By preserving the uniqueness of Hudson, we can ensure a thriving town we all can be proud to call home. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thanks for your comment. Any other comments?
My name is Terrell Gaffer. I live at 1027 7th Street in Hudson. So This came up a few weeks ago, and kind of said we had to actually say something about it. So we've owned Castle Liquor since 2006. I've been the operating manager and agent since then. Over the years, we've tried to create a unique business that differentiated ourselves from other cities. We were big into small business and on HIBA's small business groups and trying to bring tourism to the city of Hudson. Over the past 20 years, we've ran a successful business. We've brought in tourism from all over the region, the country, and from this around the state. This town has been voted to have some of the top liquor stores in Minnesota, and we're not even in Minnesota. There's a store in town that was voted by the Wall Street Journal to be the top liquor store in Wisconsin. Just traveling through Wisconsin, there are stores that just carry spotted cow, and then there are stores in Hudson that carry everything and have a variety that brings people in from all over. Our business over the last few years has been huge on education. We want to educate people about beer, wine, and liquor and be different than every other town. We want to bring people to town and let them know what they're consuming and have an experience and create the downtown small business feel that the city offers. If you allow grocery stores to come in, there aren't people on the floor working. There aren't local people that work in those establishments that know the product and are able to help customers and make an experience out of shopping for your new bottle of wine that you need to pair with dinner, or the bottle of bourbon you got to get grandpa for his birthday. As local business owners, we all shop, eat, play, do everything in town. Just want to let you know this ordinance is not going to work if we all get kicked out of here. We're not going to want to shop at these big stores, and they're not going to allow us to experience these different things in town. We also have actually tried helping the city out. We are a part of all the fundraisers. Just about everyone in here donates to every organization when they come in to ask for bottles of wine for their fundraiser or staff to help them pour at events. And we all chip in and we all try to create those projects and are giving directly back to the community. I got a lot more to say, but Brian hit most of it. This one, this is a community and we're 15,000 people. We want to keep the roots of Hudson as it is, as not be in chain stores and be pushed around by somebody that wants to come in and change our rules. We all bought licenses from another company and they follow the rules, we follow the rules. There's no reason to change the rules because they don't want to follow the rules that are out there. So in the end, we're just not another suburb. We live here because it's unique, it's different, and we don't want to be like these other big towns that have turned into just chain stores. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Any other comments?
This is just a printed version for your record. Hi, my name's Erica Walgenbach. I live at 2235 White Pine Road. I'm here as a board member of the Hudson Grocery Co-op in support of the change to the alcohol ordinance for sales in grocery stores. So the co-op has been building an ownership base within Hudson for the last 10 years, which is fairly common amount of time for us to build a co-op from the ground up. We're really proud that we now have over 935 owners and we're growing at a really rapid pace. And 2 weeks ago, the Hudson Grocery Co-op was presented with the Gessner Award for Startups, which is a really prestigious national award from the Food Cooperative Initiative. The co-op is actively pursuing a business plan that's going to allow us to open a physical store on the Hill in Hudson in the summer of 2024. Our hope for the co-op is to be a grocer that emphasizes local, organic, and natural products to serve our community. In 2020, the average U.S. food co-op worked with over 185 local farmers and producers, and for every $1 spent at a local grocery co-op, $1.60 was generated to the local community, which is 24 cents more per dollar than a conventional grocery store. Other co-ops in our geographical area tell us that they average about 3 to 5% of their top-line sales in the liquor, beer, and wine category. And these co-ops share that 60% of their sales come from small and local brands, with the remaining sales coming from other organic and boutique brands. The ordinance change would allow us as Hudson Grocery Co-op to offer a shopper a chance to try a new and local brand of wine, liquor, or beer that they see while shopping and decide to pick up while they're in the store. It would be a way to just complete a meal, support local wineries, breweries, and distilleries, and to offer something new and different to our shoppers. In a business like grocery where the margins are very thin, a 5% increase in our top line sales would help our small local business to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Any other comments?
Hello, my name's John Cromer. I own the Spirit Cellar at 203 2nd Street downtown. I sent out a letter once I found out this was being considered for, this ordinance was considered for amending. And so I'm not going to reiterate a lot of that. I just had some questions. They mentioned that because potential grocers felt that liquor sales were necessary for development. I was just curious how many how many grocery stores we were talking about here. Or is it 1 to 3 or multiple? I don't know if you'll elaborate on that or not. And then at the end of that comment, there was a statement that said staff recommends approval of this amended ordinance. And I'm just curious what criteria was used and what data did they use to make that determination, and how was that presented to you guys? So that was another question I had. And then finally, I know that this liquor license is available, and just curious, what are your criteria for issuing that new license? So that's all I had.
So, I mean, we can respond to that. The criteria, I'm not exactly sure what you need, but there is one available by ordinance due to the increase in population.
Right. And as far as the criteria, obviously the amendment talks about using a 70-30 plan for the grocery stores. You know, are we talking about and right now that's not written into anything. So
Right.
The reason I bring this up, there was this was brought to the board several years ago, and I think at that point they defined we're going to have it so that it would be if a store wanted it, it would be a separate structure with a separate entrance and exit. I'm just curious, is that what would be followed, or would it be something
It
that
has
would
to be, yeah.
Yeah, our current ordinance has the requirements if you're a grocery store or a gas station, if they'd like to get a Class A license. And so it does have to be basically a separate room, bay. It has to have some sort of separation from the main store. It has to have its own checkout. Only those of legal drinking age are allowed in. You have to always have a licensed operator on the premise at all time, those sort of things. So those are in our current ordinance. That requirement's always been there and allowed for it. So that hasn't changed at all.
Okay. And then just in what I had mentioned to you, I thought I would be curious to see what the density of liquor stores was in Wisconsin. And I did notice that it said that there were 6.8 liquor stores per 100,000 residents in Wisconsin. And with Hudson, that works out to about 14,700 residents per liquor store. And Hudson, having 15,000 or just over 15,000 residents, has 6 liquor stores right now. This amendment has the potential to add multiple on top of that. So I don't know if we want 9 times the state average. So that's my comment. Thank you.
All right, thanks, John. Any other comments?
Hi, my name is David Schultz. I'm actually the general manager at Sellers at 131 Carmichael, here on Chad Moe's behalf. There's not much I can actually add except to maybe the volume of disapproval of my other compatriots have said so far. We tend to focus a lot, and I know a lot of these other guys do too, on service and kind of having that hometown feel in the stores that we have, and that is something that I think bringing something else into it is not really beneficial for. I think the number that we have now is very adequate for the amount of people that we have, and as far as again the charity works, that sort of thing. I don't live in Hudson. I live actually in Osceola, but I have been part of in my youth I was part of the FIPS. My mother was a teacher up at St. Mary's up there, St. Patrick's, for 35 plus years, and I've been all over the city back and forth, and have spent a lot of time in this city. I think adding another store is just going to end up taking away from the kind of service and dedication that a lot of us show to our our people in the city and for tourists coming in as well. I know that a lot of us that are in these stores are experts at what we do. I've been in the industry off and on for 25 to 30 years, and I know what I'm talking about. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case with another big box store that just hires people that are just looking for a check. There's a lot of people that work for us, myself, and I'm sure with these guys as well, that are dedicated to what they do, and they're dedicated to their job, and they're dedicated to the city. So, again, don't want to go on too long, but I think it's going to be an overall negative for the city if we add another liquor store at this point. So, thank you.
Thanks for your comment, David.
Good evening, Mayor O'Connor, City Council members, and city staff. My name is Gary Vandervorst, and I reside at 107 East Bank Court North in Hudson. I was a resident of the city of Hudson for 40 years, and now have been living, I defected to North Hudson, I'm sorry, but still involved with the owners of Lucky's liquor stores, Lucky's Wine and More. So, in that behalf is why I'm here. And I just want to, I'm concerned about the staff support and recommendation of City of Hudson Ordinance 0823. I have been a community resident for 40 years and a resident of the City of Hudson for 50 years in the City of Hudson 40. I agree that the community needs another grocery store, but to change the city code to encourage grocery store development in our community is unfair and overreaching of your authority, in my opinion. Approval of the ordinance will jeopardize many locally owned and operated liquor stores within the community. Most of these stores are strong community supporters and are locally owned. To strip 10, 20, or 30% of their top line sales will be devastating. Those operations put them, it will be devastating to those operators and put them at financial risk of continuing into the future. For years, my point is a little different than the others, and for years I was involved with the Freedom Stores in Hudson. We inquired to the city several times about obtaining an off-sale beer license in our stores and were repeatedly turned down. It is apparent that restriction did not slow the development of the C-store industry in Hudson because there were many, many C-stores added over the last few years. A grocery store does not need off-sale to survive financially. I know the point has been brought up about low margin, but it's still, their sales are so much higher that their business model is on a lower margin. There are many communities that restrict this kind of activity. I believe that grocery stores are trying to leverage their position with the city. Please do not approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment, Gary. Any other comments?
Hello, my name is Lily Van Allen at 1400 Boulder Point Drive, and this is going to sound a little strange, but Hudson's liquor stores have done more for me in my 19 years of life than any grocery stores have ever had in this town. And I know that sounds a little weird because I am obviously not of legal drinking age, but I have lived here all my life. My father used to own a liquor store in Hudson, and before that, he worked with a spirit seller in the 80s. He's been in the liquor industry for 40 years in total of his life, and he chose to sell his store in 2016 because he just wanted to move on. He was pushed out of it or anything. And not only do I have this really deep connection to the liquor stores of Hudson and the small businesses of Hudson, they also support community events more than any other chains do in town. They sponsor the Tour of Homes, Booster Days, the Lucky Clover campaign that gets put on in March. They do more than any grocery chain that comes in is going to do, and that's what makes our community special. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Any other comments?
Hi, I'm Debbie Erickson. I live in Lakeland, Minnesota, but I have businesses here in Hudson, and the Lucky's Wine and More is our business. And I just really want to say thank you. Thank you for letting us be part of your town and for letting us be part of our town and make it our town. I'm proud and grateful to be part of such an amazing community. Our local liquor stores are part of the mosaic of businesses that make our town so charming and unique, not only for our residents, but also for the visitors who come to our great little river town. My fellow liquor store owners and their employees pour their hearts and souls into everything they do, supporting the community. And just, we just think that it's so special for our little town. And I guess I'm just asking and hope that you'll consider all of us who helped make Hudson part of what it is. We're part of the mosaic that makes this town so energetic, vibrant, and special. And I just want you to think about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Is there a motion?
Move to close.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing is closed. As I said, we're not going to take up any action on this, but I do appreciate everybody coming in here for the public hearing. Thanks. Let's see. Consent agenda.
Approve the meeting minutes from May 1st, 2023, regular council meeting, and the May 8th, 2023, special council meeting. Approve claims in the amount of $520,304.23. Approve fireworks applications. Approve secondhand jewelry and article dealer mall flea market. Approve taxi license and taxi cab drivers. Approve a conditional use permit to add a lean-to an existing shed in a planned residential district at 1909 Shasta Drive, Joel LaVenture. Approve a conditional use permit, 2-year scheduled review for Hudson G&G LLC to operate an indoor recreational facility at 2760 Enlow Street, Hudson G&G LLC. Approve a preliminary and final plat map, extraterritorial zone, Town of Hudson at St. Croix County, tax parcel 0201035300000, Tom Albert of Hudson Business Park LLC. Approve scheduled conditional use permit, 1-year review for Lucky Guys Distillery to operate a distillery in the B3 Central Business Zoning District at 101 2nd Street, Guy, Whitehead. Approve the architectural and engineering service proposal from Grease Architectural Group Incorporated in the amount of $8,500 for the City Hall staircase replacement. Approve the engineering services proposal from Crowell & Associates in the amount of $12,850 to install stairs for the mooring field. Approve the bid from Skid Steer Guy in the amount of $708,968 for the Laurel Avenue City Parking Lot and Lakefront Park Trail Improvements Project. Approve the Lakefront Park wharf plans and authorize ad for bid.
Can I
Approve-
pull that, please?
Approve Britfest Car Show. Approve Ultimissimo Dog Washing Event, June 25th, 2023. Approve Octagon House Market. Approve Speed Children Playing signage on 11th Street. Approve the reappointment of Nick Hallbeck as the City of Hudson's Board of Appeals Committee Chairperson. Approve the naming of the Cratley Lane Athletic Complex to John Herring Athletic Fields. And approve CIT Managed Services Agreement.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item M.
I'd like to clarify something. The item about the child playing, we're actually, the motion from public safety was to put in a stop sign. So I want to make sure that everybody's aware that that was on the issue sheet.
I thought that was on 17th.
That's a different one. It is supposed to be a stop sign. Just says speed.
Joyce, was the stop sign going to be at the Morrison interchange?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what's in the issue sheet.
You know, if we're going to discuss this, we need to pull it.
Yes.
It does say that on the issue sheet, though.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
A
that's what
stop
you're
sign?
approving.
That's what I
Okay,
thought.
you're approving a stop sign.
I mean,
Maybe the agenda item itself probably wasn't put on clearly, but it does approve a stop sign is what's recommended.
Okay. You got that, Joyce?
Yes, I just want to make sure that everybody knew that that's what we were approving.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second, everything except for item M. Roll call?
Morissette,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Bruck,
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Motion is approved, consent agenda is approved. Item M.
Thank you so much. I heard from a resident today who was just looking for some further clarification about this item on the agenda, wondering if maybe we could talk a little bit about where the funding's coming from and if what all the features are of it, and just ensuring that in addition to attracting tourism, that there's going to be a lot for our local residents and for folks that don't necessarily have access to boats. So I was hoping, I think,
Well, we have a master plan
Thanks, Mike.
Correct.
approved 5 years ago.
Yep, so, yeah, so for some of this, I can take some of it for Mike too. It is in the lakefront visioning plan, so it was part of that. So if you remember, maybe not, back in October of 2021, the council initially discussed this. That's when we accepted the grant, authorized the putting together the plans, and all those sort of things. So at that time, we identified, we basically talked about two projects, the boat launch project and this project. So with this project, we did receive the roughly $400,000 state grant. And then what we said at that time and what the council approved was that we would determine how the rest would be paid for based on where the bids come in. So that's what our kind of next step with this is. We estimated that it's about a $1.2 million project, but we don't know that answer for sure until the bids come in for it. What we had identified as possibilities is basically TID 6 funding. So we would bond for the project and then use the revenue from TID 6 to pay that debt service off for it, is what we anticipated that would be. But we can also look at other options as well, as we know that we have some ARPA funding that we have not allocated yet, things like that. So it is possible that there could be other sources, but at this time we haven't identified them yet because honestly we need to see what the final project cost is first so we can put that plan together.
and so the plan that was in the agenda packet, that's just a vision that's not set in stone?
No, that's the plan that'll be going out for bid. Yep.
Okay.
So the plan set that was in the packet, I'll just briefly cover what it is that's going out to bid. The length of the system is 650 feet long, 8 feet wide. There's 2 ADA accessible ramps at each end of the dock. And then there are 2 fishing piers that'll be located on the system as well. So residents would be able to access more fishing locations off of the system. So that's in a nutshell what it would look like. And that's the project that we would be bidding out.
The fishing piers, are the boats going to be able to tie to those?
Nope.
Just straight for fishing?
Straight for fishing, correct.
Okay.
There'll be mooring places along that course for people to be
Okay.
able to pull in and do that. But there also will be dedicated fishing areas, and it does open up that waterfront area there with handicap accessibility that we don't have now.
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I do have 2 questions also. Are for boats that can pull up there, do we have a size limit? Is there a fee structure for them to?
There's no fee structure, and we can, it's our purview as a city, as a council, as staff, to dictate the size of boats that we want pulling up there. It hasn't been set in stone yet, but it's something that we could sign to say maximum boat length, 22 feet, so on and so forth. Obviously, we don't want yachts tying up to this and breaking it. So that'll have to be, discussed in the future when if and
Okay.
when this project does move forward.
Because of course, if people are fishing there and someone whips in with their boat,
Yeah,
whoops,
yeah.
there goes my
And we don't
line.
want the kids throwing their lure on the $500,000 yacht either. That wouldn't be fun.
Well, so then my second question is, I didn't see the term wharf applied to it before. I
Yeah.
thought it was called a boardwalk or something
Yep.
like that.
I can
So-
I can explain that change. So throughout this process, we've been working with a particular staff member of the DNR, and he had recently moved on, and so a new staff person was given this project. And the first thing that he asked us was, why is it called a boardwalk? Because boardwalks are typically for areas that are over like lowlands, or marshes, or swamps, so on and so forth, and this is anything but that, you know. And so he goes, me, as a DNR staff, I'm going to call this a wharf, because that is a better definition of this project, and that's what your new permit is gonna be under. And so that's why there was a change in some of the verbiage.
Okay, thank
Yep,
you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Nope, so
Motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and second, thanks, Mike. A motion and second to approve, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I don't have anything. Anybody?
Move to adjourn. Second.
Motion and second to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.